back to my channel. Today we are doing my thoughts, my perspective, what I think of the Pointers metallic watercolor paints. Now you would have seen me introduce these you would have seen me feature these in my birthday haul. I think these were featured in the birthday haul. So yeah, so today we're looking at them, and I will be doing with these like I do with all my other reviews lately. I will be taking them away, do the first impression, take them away, work with them off camera and experiment with them, then come back to you and give you my full thoughts and perspective on the paints. So what you have seen is me doing this. Now I think I featured these paints, it'll be these paints in a previous video. So this is what I did with them, looking at them, working with them, and I will be comparing. These are the same pointers, if you didn't know this. These are the same pointer paints. I've repackaged them in something else. The same pointer metallic watercolor paints. They have been repackaged, I believe, like this now. So I want to see how different, what similarities, what do they have that are similar, different compared to the other brand. That's what we're looking at today. And for the first part of this video, I will be doing the unpackaging and the first impression of these paints. And in the second part of this video, I will give you my full thoughts and perspective. So the Pointer is, I believe Pointer is a Mexican brand. And I also believe that now their packaging is in both English and Spanish. So if you can't read the Spanish part, you could read the English part. And the English part says that these paints, now I have to emphasize this, when it comes to Pointer, the only information you'll know about the products is what is written on the products, because on their website, they don't show anything. They don't even feature the products. So I have to emphasize that. So whatever they have on this is exactly what they're saying about the products, and you can see it right there. Plastic case with 12 watercolors in metallic tones. These colors can mix together and includes a brush. It's quick drying plastic case. Okay, I guess it's a part of the Pointers school and office products and didactic materials, special for creative development of the child, and attention when used by three-year-old minor children. The supervision of adult is needed. One of the things that Pointer, I realized, have 3 separate sections. They have a blue brand, a red brand, and I think a black. I know they have the blue, the red, and I think a yellow. I think the yellow is for their office line, the blue is for their school line, and the red is for their art line. And I do think they have a black line, which is for their premium art line, and this falls into their blue line, which is their school line. That I remember. So this is how the front of the packaging look. Very glossy presentation. The side of the box, let me make you read it a bit better. 12 colors. 12 colors. Now the previous one came in 6 colors. Yeah, there was 6 colors in here. Each box containing 6. It was kind of like the Kuretake. I said I repackaged them because now I repackage them like this. I put them in an old Faber-Castell thin, and I've had these drying for almost 6 days. As you can see, they're still a bit moist. So yeah, and I do use them. Look at those dimples. So yeah, these are the colors that came in the first ones that I got. Now they only had 2 sets there. I'm not sure if those were the only 2 sets that were available, and that was it. But the 2 sets that was sold in the store that I bought these from are these, and I did have them like this. I think I do still have the original swatch of these. Let me get it. So here's the original swatch. Set 1 came with these colors, while set 2 came with these colors, and I did swatch it on black as well. So yeah. So now we have spoken about these at length. Let's go into the newer metallic paints. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it's nice, but it's still a bit difficult to open. Let's slide this out. Comes with a brush. It's metallic paints. This is what I'm looking at. A little different from what it was before. We have seen the colors that are in the previous paint. Oh gosh, excuse me. Okay, here's the brush. I don't know, it's dirty inside, which is weird. Sorry. So yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try swatching them first with the brush that came with it, even though you saw me using it like a duster. But more likely, I believe that what I'll end up doing is just using my own brush for these. But let's just try it, guys. Let's not say it is no good, I can't use it, and let's try it, even though it doesn't look like the type of brush that I can master. It'll be frustrating for me to master. So let's just try it with the swatch, and then let's see how it works out. Just giving it a couple seconds for the water to be set in the brush, to be set in the paints, because I noticed that with metallic paints you do have to give it a second or two to set, and I've already pre-wet the brush. We're gonna try it, guys. So first I'm gonna try to see if I can do it in the color order that I have here. I've already recognized that the colors that are here in this set, I don't want, because of the glare, that are in this set are not all the colors that are in this set, because this set, in the newer set, this one here that I'm looking at, I don't see a gold or yellow representing color. I could be wrong, it could just be how the pigment dried, but in the previous set there was 3. So let's just try it. I'll first try it with this color here. You guys are not even seeing what I'm doing. The glare, guys, the glare, because of the glare, I'm actually trying this color here. And yeah, it does re-wet beautifully. It does give me a nice glow. Let's see if I could pick up enough paint. Sorry, I had an allergic attack. And I hope you're seeing me now. Okay. It feels pretty good. It does feel pretty good. I am seeing glitter. I am picking up paint. It seems like the same formulation as the previous paint. My only issue now is the brush. I think I'm losing a hair. I can already see a hair getting pulled out. You're not seeing that, yeah. So we're doing the second color, which would be the silver light color. Yeah, I'm already losing a hair on this brush. It's okay. It's a little softer than I'm used to, but you can even notice. You see me making lines? Oh, you're not seeing it. I'm seeing it, but you're not seeing it. Let me see if I can tilt it a bit. Here. Notice? I'm not even touching it. It's just one here that is out. Yeah. So I already can see that this brush is going to be a bit, challenging for me to work with. And those are the 2 colors that I've swatched so far. What I'm going to do, I'm going to excuse myself with this brush, and then I'm going to swatch out the rest, and then in part 2 of this video I'm going to come back to you with a full thoughts and perspective. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this first half, and I will definitely see you. It'll be 1 week for me, but 2 seconds for you. See you guys. Hi friends, welcome back to part 2 of these pointer metallic watercolor cakes review. You would have seen part 1 Oh my gosh, I have been playing with these paints for the better part of 2 weeks. And so what I'm gonna do in part 2, I'm gonna show you what I have done. We have a paint demonstration to do in part 2, and then we'll do the wrap up. So let's get started. Okay, so in part 1, I introduced you guys to these pointer watercolor metallic paints that I was able to get. I think this was a birthday present of last year that I gifted myself on a $40. It was a $40 Belize, $20 US shopping spree, and yeah, it was very affordable. And as you can see, I have good divots in there. I reached pan on several of the paints, and also I swatched them out. They are the beautiful metallic colors. Can you see that? Well, I have it taped to the lid so that I can also use the lid as a mixing surface, hence why it now looks like this. But yeah, guys, this was a lot of fun to work with, believe it or not. One of the things I have to say that it's actually against these paints is not necessarily what it is. I probably will talk about it again when I do my illustrative piece, but there's not a lot of paint in these. Okay, so as you may have seen in part 1 where I did the swatching for the pointer metallic watercolor case comparisons. Now these are the paints that I swatched out in part 1. As you can see, they're beautiful and metallic, very, very shiny. Let me take off a light here so you can appreciate what I am appreciating, maybe too. Yes, so you don't have that glare back effect. As you can see, these paints are very, very glossy, very glittery, very glittery. And I did a bit of color mixing with them here and a little paint demonstration. I also had the pointer metallic watercolors. Now these came in, let me get one for you, pans like these. Okay, it came in storages like this, and I'm sure that you would have seen the video. I probably would put the card up for this so that you guys can see it. So it's compared to this. See, this look more like the Kuretake Gansai Tambi paints versus this. But these are how I found them initially in Belize in package of 6. I bought 2 package, but now it's like this. And I also swatched those out on this paper for the pointer comparison. As you can see, it's very glossy, very glittery, why am I saying glitterily? Very glittery. And these are actual color mixes here. So the circles are color mixes. The star is mixing all 3 colors together. And the same thing apply here, where the circles are the color mixes, secondary color. My star is the tertiary color with all 3 mixes here. And this is my little, I always do a little illustrative color comparison when I'm doing color mixing and this color exercise. I also did some comparison with other glitter paints that I have. I have 4 different form of glitter paints. I have the Kuretake Gansai Tambi pearl colors, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi gem colors, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi starry colors, and I also have the Kuretake Gansai Tambi opal colors. For this exercise, I did not do the Gansai Tambi opal colors because I noted that on iridescent black paper, these paints don't have an iridescent effect. Iridescent effect for me is when the paint actually change colors. And as you can see in my swatch, let me put on back some lights for you. Sorry if you get the glitter. I just wanted to give you guys the clarity of what I'm looking at. There's not much color changing. And for that reason, I did not use the opal colors to do the comparison. So in my first exercise that I did with these paints, I compared them to the Kuretake Gamzai pearl colors. And as you can see, the color comparison is very beautiful. Not so much even, but definitely beautiful. Very glitterly. Glitter. I keep saying glitterly. I have to put a count every time I say glitterly. So as you can see, it's very glittery. And also for March, I'm doing the March of Robots challenge. I'm doing 4 robots for the month of March. And I also did a robot. This is my buff robot. And I'm calling it Metal March Madness because I'm using metallic colors. So yeah, here we go. Look how glittering that is. This is the Kuretake Gamzai gem colors, and I also compared the watercolor cakes to the Kuretake Gamzai gem colors. So look how it looks. This is the pointer metallic watercolor cakes on top, the Kuretake Gamzai gem colors to the bottom, and I use the colors here to illustrate a timid robot for my March of Robots. Are you guys seeing Mr. Timid? Come on, focus on Mr. Timid for me. Let me bring you guys in a bit closer. Yes, there he is, Mr. Timid Robot for my Metal March Madness or the March of Robots. As usual, I was looking at these paints when it comes to different papers. So this is black treated paper. This is the same black cardstock that I have, but I treat it with clear gesso so it's able to accept watercolors. It worked well on this paper, and these are stuff again I will discuss in my illustrative part. Sorry guys, my allergies are acting up, and I know this is about to rain, and somehow when it's about to rain I get the sniffles. So it worked well on this paper. I'm also looked at it when it came to this paper here. This is the Paul Rubin sketchbook that I have. It should be a hot press paper with 140 pounds paper. It also should be cotton paper, or some percentage of it is cotton paper. So I also did a comparison in this, and this is the piece that I did in here with those paints. And again, as you can see, look how this looks. Yeah, so it is doing well, and there are some residue that comes off on your hand, a little bit of mica that comes off on your hand when you're working with this, but it did work well on this paper as well. So today, to wrap it all up, we're working with the paints with the pointer metallic watercolor cakes on the Fluid 100 cotton hot press block that I have here. So I'm trying it, like I said, it's amazing because it's looking like 2025 is me just trying to, I'm definitely on a low buy. It is not a high buy. So we're working through our papers, we're working through our surfaces, and today we're working with this for March, for the March of Robots. And this is my contribution for my March of Robots, but not Metal March Madness, but March of Robots. And we're looking at this. This doesn't have a theme to it. So now let me stop my blabbering, and I'm going to moisten my paints, and we're going to get to the illustrative piece. Okay guys, let's talk about these paints for a second. These paints re-wet very easily. Re-wetting wasn't a problem, but the amount of water you use, you need to be careful with it, because if you wet these paints with only the brush, water that is in the brush, you will not pick up enough paint. That's one of the things that I was battling with these paints. It does pick up a lot of paint when you saturate the cakes with water, and if you use a natural hair brush, you will pick up a lot of paint. But if you use like what I did, which was a synthetic brush, you'll be able to have, for me, it was better brush control. So please be mindful of that. Also, one of the things that I noticed with these paints is that they're not very smooth. They lay down easily, but it doesn't dry very evenly. It dries kind of patchy, and that was something I was mindful of these paints. One of the things that I was battling is the first time I used these paints on this paper, which is very smooth, the Paul Rubens sketchbook paper that I use. The surface was not smooth. It was like fine grain, or fine grain, I should say. So it wasn't very smooth, and it was able to hold the paints better. One of the things I was battling with this paper was that the paper was not holding the paints. So I was like really caught off guard with it. Another thing I should say about these paints is that it doesn't come with a true yellow. So if you want to do color mixing like what I like to do, it is going to challenge you because there's not a true yellow. There is a beige-like kind of color, but that doesn't really give you a green, or it kind of more neutralizes the blue than enhance it for a green. So please be mindful of that if you're getting these paints. I can see myself finishing these paints with a monthly art challenge, or maybe an art challenge that's more than 6 prompts. I only did 4 prompts for my March of Robots or Metal March Madness. I did a few prompts and the paints are almost finished. I'm almost complete out of a few colors, and I've hit pan on nearly all the colors that I use. So yeah, you have to be mindful of that when using these paints. They are opaque. I would say the opacity is good enough. Right now, I do need to reline my artwork because the paints are very opaque. It kind of reminds me of gouache to some extent, like painting with gouache, but the color mixing is not there, so it doesn't give you the satisfaction of a gouache like paint. They're easily lifted. They don't granulate, they don't gradate, so they don't move, and you can lift them easily and almost completely off the paper. When layering these paints, please note that the underneath layer doesn't dry. So if you're not layering these paints, even if you wait 1 day, 2 days, 3 days for that underneath layer to dry, they're not going to dry. You can easily re-wet them and move them about when putting on layers. The paint has no color names, so don't ask me what colors I use with this because it didn't come without the color names, and the previous adaptation of these paints did not come with color names as well. I note that the paint does not change colors on black paper. I've already talked about that. There are several things that I've already talked about in the pre to this thing, so I'm not going to talk about how it smudges on your finger a little bit, or how it doesn't really change color on black, because we've already discussed all those amazing things. It does work on cotton blend. Like I said, it did work on the Paul Rubens sketchbook, which is a cotton blend paper. It's not a 100% cotton paper, but a cotton blend one, and it does work on that. Guys, thank you so much, and I will discuss more in the NP. Okay, so I'm sure I would have discussed with you all my thoughts, well, majority of my thoughts when it comes to the Pointers metallic watercolor. I call these the watercolor cakes, even though Pointers just call them Pointers watercolors set, because like I said, I've already had the previous version. So for me to distinguish between this and the previous version, I call this the watercolor cakes. And as you can see, I murdered my green. I murdered this color. So and that's because I only did those paintings that I showed you with it. 2 robots. Well, it will be 3 robots. This is also a robot. I'll bring you out, guys, and show you to appreciate this. And then I would have to take this away and fix it up with some acrylic paint pens. So I did the robot in the Paul Rubens sketchbook. I did some color testing and work with it, and 2 robots. And with all those 3 color testing and work, 2 robots for the March of Robots Metal March Madness. This baby here, let me bring you out and let you appreciate what I'm looking at. As you can see, yeah, I know I have to reline my work because the opacity of these paints has covered much of my line work. So it looks kind of just like a jumble mess. As you can see, I was battling the texture of the brush because the paint is very thick. So I do have brush textures. Thankfully, one of the things that I did was work with those water-based markers. So I'm able to appreciate texture and work with it thanks to those. And one of the other things I should say that I did not say in my illustrative piece because I ran out of time was that when it came to using colored pencils, the paints kind of scratched the surface of the colored pencils. Sorry, not the paints. The colored pencils scratched the surface of these paints. So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Because it scratched it to the point where it was like picking it up. If you notice, this little tonation here was actually some metallic colored pencils I was trying to test out with these paints right here, and it kind of scratched off the paints. So it's not like I could use colored pencils to reline my work like with watercolor paints. I'll probably have to use, like I said, paint markers, because it kind of acts more like a gouache, but it doesn't give you the color mixing ability of the gouache. So it kind of works in that respect. But all in all, I'm thankful that one of the things, let me bring you guys in. One of the things that I'm grateful for is that I had the opportunity to work with them, and doing these kind of works, you'll see all this kind of stuff a lot for this year. I will do projects with the items I'm introducing because I want to use the products. I mean, 2025 is a time to continue exploring and to use the stuff that we have. So that's what we're doing. You're seeing me using them. You're seeing me actually putting them through the trenches, operating with them on different surfaces. And it has been wonderful and beautiful. I should put up my scoring because I did compare these paints, like I said, to other metallic paints that I have. So I would give you guys that scoring right now. So guys, tell me what you think of these paints in the comments below. Did you have the opportunity to work with this exact brand of metallic paints? Do you have other metallic paints that you're working with? What are your thoughts about it? How do you use it? Maybe the way you're using the metallic paints is not the way I am using the metallic paints, and I could pick up some pointers from you. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.